Hello, my name is Abby Linville, and this is my Module 10 case study. This case study is about a boy named Miguel Hernandez who attends Nottingham High School in Dover. It's a high school that serves 3,200 students. It was built back in the early 1950s. The school itself has gone through a lot of reconstruction to help make sure that it is accessible. About 75% of the building has been reconstructed, but there is still 25% that still needs work. The Hernandez family moved to Dover specifically to enroll their students in a school that had strong academics and a strong sports program. Their son Miguel was the quarterback on the football team. And during one of the recent football games, he was hurt and paralyzed from the waist down. So during this time, he has been recuperating at home and learning how to use a wheelchair, and he is preparing to come back to school. When the parents met with the school counselor, Ms. Gussman, they shared with her that the only accommodation that they would see him needing going forward would be to have access to all the classrooms, and that making sure that all the classrooms were wheelchair accessible. So the counselor assured them that that would happen. And then Miguel, on his first day back at school, the school had a big assembly to celebrate him and his return into school and his commitment to the football game or the football team. And after that, when he went to his first period, he was told to go meet with the school counselor. And when he met with her, she informed him that he would be dropped from the biology class that he was taking as a college prep course, and re-enrolled in a course that was not a college prep course, but is a science course that would meet his graduation requirements. When Miguel shared this with his parents, they were upset and requested a meeting with the school principal. And when they came to meet with the school principal, the parents brought their lawyer with them and are upset that he was taken out of the college prep course and placed into just a graduation requirement lower level course, and they feel like his rights have been violated under the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. And so their lawyer informed them that he would like some actions taken to make sure that Miguel's needs were being met. So that is what this case looks like. So it does present some legal and ethical issues. Miguel was removed from that college preparatory class due to wheelchair accessibility. The counselor informed Miguel when she talked to him that the reason that he couldn't take biology is because the classroom was not wheelchair accessible, which means if we are taking away and violating his right to free, appropriate public education and not providing him access to a specific classroom or a specific area of the school that he needs to be successful, then that school would be violating the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, which ensures that students that have a disability that would require accessibility modifications and accommodations to help meet their needs have that right to do so in the classroom, and any student with a disability is required by law to have a free, appropriate public education. So to summarize the case in one sentence would be that Miguel Hernandez's parents feel as if his rights under the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 have been violated, and they would like his right to free, appropriate public education to be restored. So here are the facts in the case. The people in this case are Miguel, the counselor, Ms. Gussman, the building principal, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, who are Miguel's parents, and their attorney, who is named Howard Carey. The case takes place in Dover, which is a really supportive community. They support not only the school system, but they also support the school sports in their community as well, with a large amount of families coming out on Friday nights to watch the football team. It's a larger school with 3,200 students. It has older buildings that have been refurbished and had modifications made to make them accessible, but not all of the school has made those transitions, only 75% of them. They do have such a large number of students and not enough space that they are also using relocatable trailers as well. The biology classroom at this time, which is the course that Miguel was removed from, that classroom is not wheelchair accessible at this time. The program at the school, it's a high school serving 9th through 12th students. It is in a public school setting. There are a variety of classes being offered in the school, but it's well known for having strong academics and providing students with college preparatory classes, which are one of the reasons that Miguel's parents chose to move to this community. So here are some priorities and things to keep in mind when looking at this case. Based off the fact that they had an assembly just to honor Miguel, I would say that he is a celebrated member of the community, knowing that they're a sports-oriented community, and that's really important, in that he was the quarterback for the football team, and I think he is well respected and his family is well respected in the community. So if the parents were to speak out in the community and say that the school was not supporting Miguel as he came back to school after his football accident, I think that the reputation of the school would be at risk with the community, and they would not be getting as much support from the community as what they are now. And I think to make sure that your community culture is strong, you want to make sure that you protect that reputation. Miguel also, going to college is obviously a high priority for him and his family, and he needs to have access to those classes so that he is able to go to college. Here are some questions that I think need to be answered or looked at when looking at the options to solving this issue. What factors were considered by the counselor, Ms. Gussman, when she decided to remove Miguel from the biology course and place him in the new science class? So looking at those factors that drove her decision. Looking at what does the accessibility look like in the current biology classroom? Could there be some simple modifications that we could make to make that classroom accessible to Miguel? We also need to look at, could that biology classroom be relocated easily? So what things do we need in that room? And do we have other options that would be accessible that we could move that course to? We also need to look at, is there an elevator in the building? Is the situation that we need to get upstairs? If it is, do we have a service elevator that we could easily adjust to make sure that Miguel could use that elevator to get to the second floor of the school if that's the situation that we're facing? And I think there is a special education process, and part of that process is making sure that you are eligible and qualify for a 504 plan. I believe Miguel would, but he would still need to go through that process just as any other student would in the school system. So here are the options that I would take for solving this problem, or that I would look at as options. The first would be to take no action at all and to keep Miguel in the course that Ms. Gussman has enrolled him in, the new course that meets graduation requirements but is not a college preparatory course. I would also make sure that's the first option. The second option would be to inform the superintendent and let the superintendent handle it. So tell him what the situation that took place and hand that situation over to him. Option 3 would be to research what is necessary for us to do right now currently in the school to provide accessibility to that biology classroom and to all of the classrooms. So what steps do we need to take to ensure that Miguel has access to all of that he needs to make sure that what's appropriate education for him can be met? And I think the main goal with number 3 is to make sure that Miguel is able to complete biology with his peers as soon as possible. So in this option, it might take a little bit of time, but that would be the main goal in the end, is that he is able to take biology with his peers. Option 4 would be to enroll Miguel in an online biology course that would serve the college preparatory requirements that he needed to attend the colleges that he is wanting to. So let's look at the pros and cons of option 1. So the first option is to take no actions. The pros of this is that there would be no cost to the school and no changes would be needed. The major cons of this is it's denying equitable access to Miguel. His parents have already reached out to a lawyer and they will file a complaint, which means that the school district would be involved in a due process, and it would definitely have an effect on the community relationships between the school and the community, because I think Miguel's parents would share what is going on within the community. I think the risk of option 1 is very high, that there would definitely be that complaint filed and there would be big ramifications for the school in a negative way. Option 2 would be to inform the superintendent and let him handle it. The pros of this, it would be minimal stress to the principal. The cons of it would be that the relationship with Miguel's parents would definitely be affected. They would feel like you were passing off the situation, and it would also appear that you couldn't handle that situation as a school principal yourself. And I think, again, it would go back to the relationship with the community and other parents in the school, and I think that that would take a major hit as well. Option 3. Option 3 is to research what is needed to provide accessibility and allow Miguel to complete biology with his peers as soon as possible. The pros of this is that you would be providing Miguel with that equitable access and ensuring that he is getting the free, appropriate public education that he's entitled to. It would support Miguel's educational success, and you would make sure that his rights were protected. The cons of this is it's a process that might take a long time and cost the district a lot of money. Option 4 would be to enroll Miguel in an online biology course. So Miguel would then be provided with equitable access to educational resources and to technology. It would support his educational success and make sure that his rights are protected, and he could start this immediately. The cons of this are this outside course could be potentially costly to the school, but I think the major part and con of it would be that when he's already going through a major life change and he is moving into being in a wheelchair for the first time, and he has already been out of school for a while and has had that loss of social interaction, that I fear of how that would take a hit on his mental health and his mental well-being. And I think that it's really important that he be integrated into the school in the least restrictive environment possible, so that he is allowed an opportunity to still socialize and be around and learn with his peers. So looking at those 4 options, I think option number 1 for me is immediately taken off of the table. I think the legal ramifications of it are too great, and I don't think that that would be something I would be comfortable with doing. It is definitely breaking some laws, and it would just not be an option for me. Option 2 would also not be an option for me, because I think that it is something that the principal can handle with the support of the superintendent, but is not something that you should just hand over to the superintendent to handle. I think you want to maintain those relationships with the parents and protect your reputation in the community as well. I think option 3 is strong because it's ensuring accessibility, and it's something that you might face again as a school, and that's something that needs to be addressed moving forward, because Miguel, it seems like, has a couple years left before going to college, so this problem would happen again maybe later on, so it's something to definitely consider and look at. I think option 4 is also a good option because it provides him with access to a biology course and meeting that requirement for college. However, I really feel strongly that Miguel should have an opportunity to go to a class with his peers and have that social interaction. I think it's really important for his mental health and well-being. So knowing that, I think option 3 would be the choice I would go with.